For 30 years, I believed I had the perfect marriage. Not because everything was easy. It wasn't. Like every couple, my husband and I faced challenges. We struggled financially in our early years. We worked hard to build a comfortable life. We raised 2 wonderful children together and created a home filled with memories. When we first met, we were young and ambitious. We dreamed about the future and promised to stand by each other no matter what happened. And for many years, that's exactly what I thought we were doing. While my husband focused on building his career, I focused on building our family. I woke up before everyone else and went to bed after everyone else. I cooked meals, cleaned the house, helped the children with homework, attended school events, and managed every detail of our daily lives. Whenever my husband faced problems at work, I listened patiently and encouraged him. Whenever money became tight, I found ways to stretch our budget. Whenever life became difficult, I stood beside him. I never complained because I believed that's what love was. Partnership. Sacrifice. Commitment. For decades, I put everyone else's needs before my own. And honestly, I didn't regret it. Seeing my family happy made me happy. At least, that's what I thought. But somewhere along the way, things began to change. At first, the changes were small. My husband started coming home later than usual. He spent more time on his phone. He seemed distracted during conversations. When I asked if something was wrong, he always had an excuse. Work is stressful. I'm just tired. You're imagining things. I wanted to believe him. But deep down, something felt different. The warmth that once existed between us was slowly disappearing. The man who used to share everything with me was becoming a stranger. And no matter how hard I tried to ignore it, I could feel our marriage slipping away. I just wasn't prepared for what was coming next. One evening, everything changed. I remember the moment clearly. The house was quiet. Dinner dishes had been cleaned. I was sitting in the kitchen when my husband walked in. Something about his expression felt cold. Different. Without saying much, he sat across from me at the table. The silence felt heavy. Then he finally spoke. I want a divorce. For a second, I thought I had heard him wrong. I stared at him. Waiting for him to smile. Waiting for him to say he was joking. But he wasn't. His face remained emotionless. Then he told me the truth. There was another woman. A younger woman. Someone he had been seeing for months. According to him, she made him feel excited again. She made him feel young. She made him feel alive. As he spoke, it felt like my entire world was collapsing around me. 30 years together. 30 years of memories. 30 years of loyalty. And none of it seemed to matter. Then he said words that cut deeper than anything else. You've become boring. You don't excite me anymore. You're useless now. I felt as if all the air had left the room. How could someone I had loved for 3 decades say something so cruel? How could the man I stood beside through every struggle look at me like I was disposable? A few weeks later, he moved out. Not long after that, he married the younger woman. Just like that. 30 years gone. I felt broken. I cried myself to sleep almost every night. I questioned everything. My appearance. My value. My worth. I kept wondering what she had that I didn't. Why wasn't I enough? The pain was unbearable. But little did I know, this wasn't the end of my story. It was only the beginning. The months after the divorce were some of the hardest of my life. The house felt empty. The silence was deafening. Every room reminded me of the life we once shared. At first, I struggled just to get through each day. But eventually, something inside me shifted. One morning, I looked at myself in the mirror and realized something. For 30 years, I had dedicated my life to everyone else. My husband. My children. My family. But I had forgotten about myself. I had spent so much time taking care of others that I no longer knew who I was. And for the first time in decades, I decided to change that. I joined a fitness class. At first, I felt nervous. But each workout made me feel stronger. Not just physically. Emotionally. I started reading books again. I took up hobbies I had abandoned years earlier. I traveled to places I had always wanted to see. I reconnected with old friends who reminded me who I was before marriage consumed my identity. Slowly, I began rebuilding my confidence. I laughed more. Smiled more. Lived more. The woman who once felt rejected and worthless was becoming someone new. Someone stronger. Someone happier. Meanwhile, my ex-husband seemed to be living his dream life. Everywhere I looked, there were photos. Luxury vacations. Expensive restaurants. Romantic getaways. Perfect smiles. To the outside world, they looked like the perfect couple. People assumed he had upgraded his life. People assumed he had made the right choice. But social media only shows what people want you to see. And behind those smiling photos, a very different story was unfolding. Nearly 2 years after our divorce, I received an unexpected phone call. It was one of our mutual friends. And she had news. Apparently, things weren't going well for my ex-husband. Not at all. The glamorous new marriage wasn't as perfect as it appeared online. His new wife loved spending money. Designer clothes. Luxury vacations. Expensive gifts. At first, he enjoyed spoiling her. But eventually, the bills started piling up. Financial pressure began growing. Arguments became frequent. Every small disagreement turned into a major fight. The excitement that once brought them together was disappearing. Then things became even worse. His business started struggling. Several important contracts were lost. Income decreased dramatically. Stress consumed him. The pressure affected every part of his life. The marriage that once seemed exciting became toxic. And eventually, the woman he left me for did something he never expected. She left him. Just like he had left me. She packed her things, took what she could, and walked away. Suddenly, he found himself completely alone. The same loneliness he had forced me to experience. Now he was experiencing it himself. But karma wasn't finished. The stress began affecting his health. He looked older than his age. He became exhausted. Many friends stopped calling. People who once enjoyed his success disappeared when he needed support. And for the first time in years, he truly understood what it felt like to lose everything. The man who once called me useless was now facing the consequences of his own choices. Life had a way of teaching lessons that no one could escape. A few months later, fate brought us together again. I was shopping one afternoon when I saw someone standing nearby. At first, I didn't recognize him. Then I looked closer. It was my ex-husband. But he looked completely different. Older. Weaker. Tired. The confidence he once carried had vanished. When he saw me, he hesitated. Then he walked over. We exchanged polite greetings and eventually sat down for coffee. For several minutes, neither of us said much. Then he finally spoke. And what happened next surprised me. He apologized. Not a quick apology. Not a forced apology. A genuine one. He admitted that leaving me had been the biggest mistake of his life. He admitted that he had taken me for granted. He confessed that he never truly appreciated everything I had done for him until I was gone. His voice cracked as he spoke. Then he asked a question. A question I never expected to hear. Can you ever forgive me? I looked at him quietly. Years earlier, I had imagined this moment many times. I had imagined feeling angry, bitter, vindicated. But surprisingly, I felt none of those things. Instead, I felt peace. Because I was no longer the broken woman he had left behind. I had rebuilt my life. I had rediscovered my strength. I had found happiness without him. So I smiled and gave him my answer. I forgave you a long time ago. Not for your sake. For mine. Tears filled his eyes. But my heart felt light. I stood up from the table. Wished him well. And walked away. Without regret. Without anger. Without looking back. Because the greatest form of karma isn't revenge. It's growth. It's healing. It's becoming stronger than the pain that once nearly destroyed you. Sometimes people don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. Sometimes life teaches lessons the hard way. And sometimes your greatest victory isn't watching someone else's downfall. It's creating a better future for yourself. So if someone has ever rejected you, betrayed you, or made you question your worth, remember this. Their decision does not define your value. Your story isn't over. In fact, your best chapter may still be waiting ahead. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And remember, never let someone else's rejection determine how you see yourself. Because your true worth has always been there, you simply have to believe it.